This is a brief overview of Student 504 plans, which are mandated by Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, commonly referred to as Section 504. Section 504 is a federal law which requires public schools to provide disabled students with a free and appropriate public education. Schools are also required to provide students with disabilities with an equal opportunity for participation in non-academic and extracurricular services and activities. Students can receive a free and appropriate public education through 504 plans. 504 plans are available for K-12 public school students with disabilities. Section 504 defines disability in very broad terms. That's one reason why children who aren't eligible for an individualized education program may qualify for a 504 plan. Section 504 defines a person with a disability as someone who 1. Has a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities, 2. Has a record of such an impairment, or 3. Is regarded as having such an impairment. A medical diagnosis is not required to be eligible for a 504 plan. For example, a 504 committee may determine that a student has a mental impairment of anxiety to the point that it is a disability that affects the student's major life activities of concentrating, thinking, and learning. For people who have an anxiety disorder, worry and fear are constant and overwhelming and can be disabling. But with treatment options such as a 504 plan, many students can manage those feelings and get back to an enjoyable life. Major life activities include lots of categories which were expanded with the ADA Amendments Act of 2008. People often ask who can refer a student for a 504 evaluation. A parent, teacher, school nurse, social worker, guidance counselor, administrator, virtually anyone can refer a student. Another frequently asked question is, how does one refer a student for a 504 plan? A person can email or otherwise inform a guidance counselor, social worker, administrator, or the 504 coordinator. Lastly, how is a 504 plan drafted? A multidisciplinary team meets to determine if the student qualifies or still qualifies for a 504 plan. The team includes teachers, guidance counselors, social workers, nurses, and parents or guardians. It may also include input from the student's therapist or medical provider. All team members complete forms that provide information on the student's academics, social history, medical, and other relevant information. High school and middle school guidance counselors and elementary school principals are the team leaders for 504 matters. They send the initial documents to parents and other team members, schedule meetings, and draft and send out 504 plans to appropriate parties, which includes the 504 classroom accommodations to teachers. You can look at these forms and the 504 plan procedures on the VCS website by clicking on the HR tab and then click on the Section 504 link, which is located on the left side of the VCS page. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, anxiety is the most common mental health disorder in the United States, affecting nearly 1/3 of both adolescents and adults. But unlike depression, with which it routinely occurs, anxiety is often seen as less of a serious problem. Anxiety is easy to dismiss or overlook, partially because everyone has it to some degree. It has an evolutionary purpose. It helps us to detect and avoid potentially dangerous situations. However, highly anxious people have an overactive fight or flight response that perceives threats where there often are none. In addition to the new stresses of the modern world, adolescents still confront stress in connection with academic demands, pressure to succeed in sports or other extracurricular activities, parents' high expectations, and uncertainty about their future. Most parents and school staff can easily identify one of the biggest 21st century culprits affecting teen mental health: social media. Scientists are discovering an increasing number of troubling links between social networking and mental health challenges. Teens are particularly susceptible to peer pressure, which puts them at risk for experiencing or exacerbating mental health issues due to more time spent on social media. Studies show that increased social media use is correlated with low self-esteem and decreased life satisfaction. There's also a biological component. The constant overstimulation created by social networking shifts the nervous system into fight or flight mode, which makes teen depression and anxiety worse. Anxiety is often made worse when the student misses school due to their disability. Students are actually feeding their anxiety by sitting at home as opposed to coming to school where they can talk with a social worker or guidance counselor and/or by engaging in their daily routine. In addition, anxiety often increases for students who miss class because they excessively worry about the teacher's opinion of their absence and fear the task of getting caught up in class. A 504 plan can help students succeed in school and provide the life skills that will greatly enhance their abilities to deal with their disability. A sample 504 plan for anxiety may include: 1. The guidance office will be available for the student at the beginning of each school day if they are experiencing excessive anxiety. Number 2, the school will provide a student with a hot pass, so if they experience enhanced anxiety symptoms, they can go to the guidance office without drawing attention to themselves. Number 3, teachers will initial the student's daily planner at the end of each class period, verifying that the student has entered assignments, projects, and upcoming tests for each class. This to-do list is a type of life skill that a student may use for the rest of their life. And lastly, number 4, in order to reduce the negative effects of social media, schedule specific times to decrease the student's use. Teachers are required to follow a 504 plan by implementing the accommodations and modifications contained in the plan. The 504 plan is sent to each teacher and posted in Skyward. Please feel free to contact me with any questions or concerns, and thank you for all that you do for our students.